Well, we're live.
We're live?
We're live.
Well, by George.
By George.
I better put this guy up.
Oh, I better put him up too.
Well, the reason that I said that is I don't think he wants to be on TV.
Yeah, but
he kind of told me last night he wanted to sit here, and I picked him up because he needed petting. Anyway.
Anywho, welcome to our 6th episode of Purely Atriel. Anyway, today we'll be discussing a lot of great topics. They're interesting. Let's say that at the very least. And if you like our podcast, I hope you will leave a comment and leave a like, and we'll just keep doing them. So we're here, and we're happy to be here. So
what do you want to talk about today?
Well, today I had in mind the topic of school systems.
Oh,
for our starter.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you want me to start now?
I do want you to start, and
Okay, well, I grew up in the 50s in the school system. You might think the education back in that time was terrible. I tell you, it's better than it is today. It was way much, because you had to talk, you had to participate, you had to not necessarily know the answer to the question. I mean, it would have been nice, but out of the 100 questions I got asked in the 4th or 5th or 6th grade, I think I got 4 of them right, which was 4 more than probably anybody else in the room would have gotten right. That's what my grandfather always said. My grandfather. Mm-hmm. I'm your grandfather. Okay. He said, answer every question. And if you get 4 of them right, you're going to be doing better than probably everybody else in the class who is scared to answer the question because they're afraid they'll be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just admitted that I was wrong 96 times, and I'm still here. No lightning has struck me. In fact, that's probably the reason lightning didn't strike me, is because I realized my immortality. I realized my stupidness. Okay, I'm not stupid, but I am stupid because I'm a human being. That makes me stupid. Okay, I can mess up anything. Just give me a project and I can mess it up. Okay, I'm a human. Okay. We can't operate like ants. We're not as smart as ants. They could have 8 million ants in their farm, and you can just watch them. When the queen says, hey boys, it's time to go get your food, they just march. Well, some march off that way, and some march off this way, and some come this way with the food, and they just all do their thing, and they're not worried that they're not the boss. Everybody wants to be the boss. Everybody wants to be the boss. Everybody wants instant gratification.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to get off the blooming phone. The teachers lose the disrespect of the students, but because the students don't want to hear what she has to say. They're only interested in what's on their phone. Okay? I'm in the process of giving up my phone. I have explained to y'all before that I have Parkinson's. The phone probably created 90% of my Parkinson's. I don't put anything past a phone. Medically, I think they're doing a terrific job with trying to help people in rural areas, big cities, talk to somebody that knows what they're doing. The advance in medical care is the biggest thing that I've seen change in my lifetime, not the microwave. Okay, but what does this have to do with the school? I'm going to tie this all back in. The schools today are in the brainwashing business. I did not know that they were in the brainwashing business in Glenn County, Georgia. I had no idea. I thought that that wasn't the case. Now, one of the most dangerous people in the United States is this lady Weinberg. She happens to unfortunately be a member of my tribe, which is the Jewish people. I'm getting tired of Jewish people showing that they're on the wrong side of too many issues. I'm getting really aggravated by it. And I'm also aggravated that the kids are they're definitely trying to be brainwashed. And why? I mean, if you want to change genders, if that's what you want to do, change genders. I don't give a damn. Please change genders. It'll make you feel better. What if you wake up 4 months later and you don't like the fact that you changed from a woman to a man? I don't know what the hell they do, because I don't know what the hell it's all about anyway. But all the attention goes to the transgender and the gay and lesbian community. I have lots of friends in both of those communities, both the gay and the lesbian
Somebody
community.
asked you a question, Papa.
What?
Somebody asked, did you have to pay for the school system's lunch, and how expensive was it, if so?
Yeah, I think school lunches were 25 cents. And you went through like in a cafeteria. They had ham, or they had, now if you don't think I eat ham, watch me. I'll get a fork and a knife, for those people that think that Jewish people don't eat ham. There are a lot of Jewish people that don't, but not me.
No,
I love
eat
Black Forest ham.
I'll eat ham too.
So you went through the cafeteria type line. They had ham, they had chicken, they had mashed potatoes, they had English peas, they had green beans, and they had something to drink. Okay. We didn't have flavored water. We didn't have some of the things that were available today that are then. That doesn't mean we're going forward. It actually means we're going backwards. We've been going backwards in the education system for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that quarter, which gave me meat, vegetables, rolls, and a dessert. I don't know how that relates to the cost of things today, because that ain't something that I can't worry about something I don't know.
The food was much better back then. They're basically
much better.
They're basically,
because they weren't trying to make you fat.
Well, not that. It seems like they're more into poisoning in school systems.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that they were serving foods where you could more be what you want. If you wanted to get fatter, I weighed 95 pounds. I have managed, since I got out of high school, to put a whole new human on myself, because I now weigh about 180. So I got a whole new human here I got to deal with. And but in the last year, I've lost 20 pounds by going to the Mediterranean diet because of Parkinson's. So the school lunches were what they were. I mean, I don't know, was a quarter expensive in 1950? Well, you could go buy at least maybe 5, 6, or 7 bubble gums. You could buy a moon pie. I think Cokes were a dime. Gas was a dime. It got up to 15 or 20 or 25 cents, I think, before I got out of college. Might have gotten up to 40 cents. I really have to tell you that my memory is not. In other words, I'd probably make some mistakes, which would be okay. I like making mistakes. They keep you humble. So I hope I've answered that. So anyway, back to the schools. Instead of me continuing to talk, I want you to tell me about, in particular, the Hillary Clinton-Trump match and the Biden-Trump match, as to what the schools in Glenn County that you attended and that your younger brother and sister attended. And do I take it that they basically had to do the same thing?
as they told me.
Yeah, well, I remember Noah coming home and telling me something. Okay, go right ahead, because there's no way I can explain something that I wasn't where I was.
Part of. But so yeah, I think when I was in, let me get really specific about this. Fourth grade. That had to have been 2015 and 16 that year. And I remember I was in, definitely it had to be my history class, because we were going over Europe and a bunch of other stuff. And so I remember I was studying while everybody else was sitting on the floor, and they were watching the Trump and Hillary debates, and it was I remember Hillary.
Well, that's a good thing.
Hillary, they were watching Trump and Hillary while I was studying, and then there came the time of the inauguration. We weren't required to watch the inauguration like we really were the debates, but I'd look up and glance at the screen at Trump and Hillary a couple times, but when the inauguration came, I had no recollection of it. I don't even remember that it existed.
Don't leave an impression now that you were for Trump. Just.
Well, I wasn't for Trump, and I wasn't for Hillary. But what do you expect out of somebody who's not even a teenager yet?
Well, I understand that. I wanted you to be specific as to the word mandatory.
Yes,
it was
mandatory that we watched the debates.
It wasn't mandatory that you didn't have to watch the inauguration.
No,
because
we didn't.
In the opinion of the people, who they were backing versus the person that got elected was not the same. Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah, it was very set up.
So is this what you were asked to do? Now, see, if y'all are coming across this conversation and you think that I'm a conservative redneck, you got the wrong dude, the way wrong dude. But when you can be factual in this country, you're going to get punished for it at this point in time, it seems to me. And it's time for that to come to a halt and a stop. I have nothing against anybody. I got enough trouble of my own. I don't need more Soros. That ain't got nothing to do with George Soros either. So my point is, they made it mandatory for you to watch the debates, and they made it mandatory for you to watch the debates between Biden and they just put it on the TV, and that's that.
Well, I think they were calling it a smart board, and there was another name for it.
Okay.
Smart board and another name for it.
But when Trump got inaugurated, they didn't watch. But the Biden...
Well, it was mandatory to watch every Biden debate.
Okay. Now, I'm not picking on Mr. Biden, because he is the duly elected leader of this country.
Yeah.
Even though, I might not have wanted that. Once the people vote, you need to get behind the candidate. It's hard to get behind this candidate. I think he's not my cup of tea, but I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to talk about the schools.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the schools, and let's go back to the 50s. I had an incident in the second grade where one of the guys that loved to bully me, because I just told you I didn't weigh 95 pounds when I graduated from high school. I could barely pick up a 2-pound box. That was heavy for a 95. Gosh, I almost said 95 years old. I'm bearing down on it though.
You're not
So-
that close.
So anyway,
About over 10 more
he
years.
threw an eraser at me all the way across the room. I sat on the east wall. He sat on the west wall.
Mhm.
Okay. And I picked the thing up and threw it back to him, not at him. I underhanded it. And Murphy, I don't know who of y'all out there knows Murphy. Murphy is the guy that if something can be
Murphy's
perpetrated
Law.
upon you at absolutely the wrong time, but the right place for them to see that you're the one doing it, that's what happens to me. She opened the door and she saw me coming back from where she went, and she saw me underhanding the eraser, so she spanked me.
Oh yeah, because spanking was something that happened.
Well, I believe in spanking. You can't discipline a child by putting them in timeout. The hell does that do?
If anything, they like that.
Yeah, well, unless you take their phone away from them, you don't take their phone away from them, they're just giggling at you. You know? It's a different world today, and the parents, some are handling it better than others, and some are handling it better than the people that I just said handle it better, and some of them choose to not handle it at all. And those are the people that are creating a lot of problems. They're looking for the schools to be babysitters. And the school ain't in the babysitting business. It's in the education business, even if it's teaching the wrong stuff. Okay? The parents are going to have to get involved in this. And the people that want sensible, straight, clean education, let's teach about every damn piece of history we can find. We hadn't got enough history out there, obviously. Let's get it all as much out there as we can. I mean, what the hell? I want every kid in this town to get an education, but I don't want them to get a forced education, learning only what I want them to learn. I'm not smart enough in either teaching it or receiving it. I can't remember all the stuff that I've had put in my brain. It's not got anything to do with how old I am. Nobody can remember everything.
No, I can't either. And I have a good memory.
So what I think is the schools are being used, the people that hate America, whoever they are, which there must be a lot more than there were 10 or 12 years ago. Okay. They don't want anybody to succeed at anything, nothing. They want them to be living under a bridge. I think I have told this audience one time before, if you don't go figure out how to watch America Thon,
oh yeah,
AMERIT, finish it for me.
AME
THON.
Yes, AMERICA Americathon. Yes, AMERICA-THON.
No dash.
No dash.
No dash. I told you all one time before that I was one of 4 people in the movie theater and that they pulled it the next day. And the reason they pulled it the next day was it didn't show the success of America. It showed
the failure.
It showed something that people didn't want. The people that did this didn't. They ended up not wanting it to be seen. It is and is becoming more true every day. The future of America. You better buy a bicycle. You better buy 2 bicycles. And you better buy bicycle parts. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it. So anyway, the schools, will you quit with this? Now behave yourself. You got an audience that's looking at you. Behave your blooming self. So anyway, I'm glad that I'm not 16 years old. I wouldn't want to be 16 years old. If you wanted to turn me loose, give me all the money that's ever been printed in this
Hey,
world.
I got a week left.
Well, I'm just telling you what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, I have no interest in it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. My own brother, accuses me of being afraid of the technology. I'm not afraid of the technology. I'm afraid of what the technology is doing to society. Not just the American society, but the society.
Yeah.
And the people that hate us have used the school system to infiltrate their propaganda, which we talked about last week.
Well,
but I didn't get into the schools about last week.
The week before.
Well, I live down here in the Golden Isles. What do I need to know what day it for? I could open these curtains. All we have is blue sky.
Yeah.
But I bet we couldn't get to 535 educated senators and House of Representative members to come down here. And if you ask them one question, you ain't got to ask them but one question. What color is the sky? And you could do an addendum and go, is it blue?
Oh, it's purple. No, it's green. No, it's red. It's purple.
And I'm including my own representative in it, and I love him to death. And I'm gonna vote for him again the next time. He's made some wonderful introductions of interesting subjects. He's a pharmacist. He's the only pharmacist in the House of Representatives. He has a big interest in better medical care for people. He didn't say he preferred 6'5" people. He didn't say he preferred 13-inch big-feeted people. He didn't say he liked smaller people. The bills that he has introduced, as well as most of the bills that are introduced in the Congress, are supposedly, oh boy, now I done used the damn word, supposedly. Oh my God, here we go. Supposedly. Supposedly. Jeez, money Christmas. Now that's a word. So supposedly we're supposed to be trying to help the American public, but that ain't what they're doing.
Nope.
That ain't what they're doing. So the schools are supposed to be locally run by local people. Okay? With the help of the parents' input. Unless I don't understand what the school situation is.
Oh.
Well, I can't do anything about what the two entities that we just mentioned do. I can't do that. I don't know. I'm not one of them. Okay? But I want every child to be educated. The best advertising or information that has ever been put out concerning education was done by the NAACP when they said a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And we are wasting more minds in this country, and we're not identifying the major cause of a lot of these things. Okay? Let's say you're on a team. Football team, don't matter. Debate team, doesn't matter. Okay? Your teammates have to treat you as if you're a member of the team. If they're highfalutin and don't want to include you because of whatever it is, your nose is too big. Okay, your nose is too big. You laugh too much. Okay, okay, and so they want you to be on the team, but they just want you to be in the team picture. Okay, they're really not interested in incorporating what your talent is into a team.
Yeah.
So sometimes these kids, these adults, there's adults snapping every day as well. Mental health is not being addressed, and it certainly isn't being addressed in the school system.
No,
because that's not one of the things
that they
that they teach, and that rightfully so. Rightfully so. But there's not enough mental health doctors. There's not enough Parkinson's doctors. I'm here with the disease. They've been trying to fix dementia, which they're having a hard time with. They're trying to fix Alzheimer's, which they're having a terrible time. And it's understandable they're having a terrible time. But they haven't even put the money into Parkinson's, which is becoming an epidemic in this country. An epidemic. I don't know how to spell it, but I know how to say it. Okay. So all of this has to do with the school system being a part of the equation, not the dominant part of the equation. I don't know what the dominant part of the equation is. If you're going to attack something, you have to identify let's just say there's 4 things. There's an A, a B, a C, and a D. You can't attack them all at the same time. People think you just, all right, throw money at it. Let's attack it all at the same time. You can't, it's hard to do that because you can't pave the street before you've laid down the foundation. You can't pave a street if there's no foundation there. So you got to put the foundation down before you can pave the street.
True.
Okay? So I don't know how to solve the school problems. I think that politics has to be removed from the school.
No.
I didn't have all that in the school system that I grew up in.
Well,
and we had, let me tell you what we had. Okay. Now look, there's tons of so-called, because I'm a minority. I'm Jewish. I'm one of the smallest minorities in the country. We haven't gone and asked for special treatment. We just let us alone, and let us live, and let us do our thing. And I don't know how many Jews are in the country. Let's say there's 12 million. They don't do everything right. They're humans. Humans can't do everything right. If humans can get 5% out of 100%, they're doing good, really good. And, you know, we're doing a podcast here. This is my opinion. If you don't share my opinion, I love you anyway. That's how you have discourse.
Yeah.
You can't have discourse unless both parties can sit and talk to each other with some civility.
Yeah.
And obviously in the school systems, this is not happening because the school boards, it seems, I'm not trying to take sides here. I said it seems to be trying to determine what the curriculum is. The parents who are in error, let me repeat that again. They're just like the school board, who is in big error. The parents have big error. They need to get more involved in their kids' lives. Well, that's easy to say. That is real easy to say. I just said it. They need to get more involved in their kids' lives. Well, it's hard to do that. Their kids lock the door. You don't know what they're doing. They get on the phone. You don't know who they're talking to. They don't want you to know who they're talking to. There was only one phone in a house of 6 people, and part of my life was 7 when my grandfather had to move in. So it was 7. And we had one phone line, and it wasn't a dial tone. It was pick up the phone, and your mother was the operator. And your operator, who knew was getting on the phone, would say, Van, you're supposed to be over at Tom Tardy's house in 15 minutes. I just got to work. Here's an operator on a phone system who knows who she's talking to, who can deliver messages. Have you got one of those in your lifetime? You got a dial tone, didn't you? Now that's progress. And all you got to do is ask people. That's progress. And I'm not saying it's not progress. I'm just saying that things were different back then. People could have the same amount of uncivility in certain situations that they have today. They didn't have the crime. They didn't have as many people, so they didn't have as much crime. Okay, there weren't as many homeless people. Homeless people are going to double, triple, and quadruple in the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. I'm not hiding behind being wrong. I'm strong enough to be wrong. I'm at peace with myself. You can't get at peace with yourself and harbor all this stuff. And you can't live as long as you're supposed to do if you got nothing but anger and hate, and which we got too many people in this country that's what they're into. They don't want to study how somebody became successful, even in their own community. Even in their own community, they don't want to study people that have been successful. They want to tear them down and make them live under the bridge that they're living under. You have to build stability. I said, well, there are people, unfortunately, like me, who think they know a lot of stuff. Do I know a lot of stuff? I have no idea. I just have ideas. When I was in the 9th grade, I proposed that the government somehow should figure out how to build a little house that I, who are homeless and having to catch freight trains to where I'm going, could build me a little house that had a TV, it had a bathroom, it had a bathtub or a shower or a combination, had a living room, and it might all be in one little space, okay? It might be a 900 square foot house, and the government would pay for that. It's called communism. It's called socialism. Whatever you want to call it. I don't care. This is you have to be in the helping people business, but they have to want to do, instead of you giving them a $50 bill and them going down to the liquor store and buying $50 worth of booze. You got to get them into a rehabilitation place. You got to get them into, if they're not drug problem, you got to get them into a GED program. You got to get them into, what's the name of that place that's out by the airport? Not the Boys and Girls Club, the other one with a name. We'll think of it in a minute. The Job Corps. The Job Corps. You see, if you don't want to contribute to the country, which means you need to get an education, you don't necessarily need a 12th grade education, but you should strive for that. But if you're not going to contribute to the country should not be contributing to you. I don't want to kill people. I'm not interested in people dying. But I'm not interested in getting hit 14 times between the parking lot and the front of a store by people who are not eating. If you give them money, they're going to go straight to the liquor. They're going to go right to the little convenience store, and they're going to buy cigarettes, and they're going to buy booze. Okay? That's what they did with your money. Okay? One other thing you ought to know about. This is all about schooling and all about the social media. You should go on social media, and if you want to give money to a charity, and I'm not going to name any, because then you'll think I'm downing them. I'm not interested in downing any of them. I'm interested in upping them. You have to check how much these nonprofit charities are paying their CEO. If they're a nonprofit trying to buy or take in articles, clothing, furniture, plush toys, I'm not letting you go to one of these places. I'm telling you. He's going to stay right there. And you see over here?
Your relationship with these plushes.
You see? He's not going anywhere. He's going to stay right here.
Behave for once.
And you've taken my bear.
Well.
Why would you take my bear?
Well.
He is very comfortable. Let me show you. Right over here That's where we had him for, I don't know, the 12 years we've been here.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's
12.
get back to this. You need to find out what they're paying the CEO of the nonprofit, who is in some instances not even paying their employees. They're getting as many people to quote unquote volunteer so that they don't have to pay any money. Because if I were the CEO, I would refuse any raise and I would split it among my employees. The only way you can operate a business is you have to have help, HELP. And if you can't get help, you can't run a business.
No.
You just can't run a business. You might think you can, but you'll be in the funny farm faster than I was. So, you know, that's that. So I don't know how to tie anything about the school system other than the parents need to get more involved with their kids and quit using the schools as a drop off. It's hard to do, but back in that time, see, this is going to tie all this in. My mother didn't work. My mother worked on raising 4 children. My mother was head of discipline. My father wasn't head of discipline. My mother was head of discipline.
Oh yeah, she definitely.
Would I have rather dealt with my dad? Probably. But and I'm not, for these libs out there.
You had a strict mother. I met your mom before, so I know she had.
Well, she was your
my great grandmother.
Great grandmother.
She was very nice, but you could tell that she's not afraid to lay down the law.
Have you noticed whether any of my 3 siblings and I have had to lean on other people for a lot of help? You always have to lean on people for some kind of help. You just don't give your family and friends monetary help because they consider it to be a gift. And if you give one of your family members, this is not 100%. This is not 100%. But you have to be cautious when you loan to friends or family because most of them look at it as a gift. Oh, I thought you gave me that as a gift. And there I have given them $5,000 and I don't have a job and I'm 78 years old and I need the $5,000. I shouldn't have given them the $5,000. Okay, I should have been selfish.
Well, you have a job. But yeah, the point. Yeah, the point.
Now, I don't know what you want to talk about next, but I'm done with this. I can't.
Well, I had something to say about it, because I experienced the new school system and what's going on in the school system while I was in school. I experienced it. And so just to say the basics, it was like a prison. There's no nicer word. There's no sugarcoating it. And in the classes, you really did not learn what you're supposed to learn. You learned what the people wanted you to learn. It's almost like the principals and administration was not even running the school. It was just run by the hateful people and the people who and run by the students, but not the good students that want to do good and want to get an education, run by the students that want to smoke weed in the bathroom and want to...
Keep talking. I'll be back.
So, in the events that a student that did want to learn got up and said something about this. Well, anybody, I mean, this drug, this person who wants to go and smoke weed in the bathroom could be a football player or a basketball player. And this person who makes straight A's in class and tries his hardest or her hardest to not get in trouble could that person that smokes weed in the bathroom could say anything about this person, whether it's true or not, and this person would face a consequence. And another thing is, if you have someone who is a football coach, said football coach who happens to teach a class as well, as often as that happens. I don't know how many times that happens. I mean, but say a football coach who teaches a class doesn't like you and doesn't like your skin color, and it ties in to the fact that they can make a small accidental incident or an accident or even something that's not even wrong at all, and turn that into the administration and say this is violation or whatever you want to call it, and it just turns into let's say a court case or a tribunal, and it becomes to where it's your word against theirs. And when it's your word against theirs, it's not, most times it's very, very hard to because if you've got, say you can't afford to get a lawyer or somebody backing you, or you can't even if you can't afford to get a lawyer, say you don't have enough juice and you don't have enough information to be able to go in to a situation where somebody can say anything and everything is already set up against you. They're all ready to convict you as guilty. You're already...
In other words, if you were going to a
guilty before you get in the room. You're already guilty before you get into the room.
Yeah. In other words, if your deal is for a Tuesday and they've notified you on the Thursday before, they have written up their sentence on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're already.
And, that's what the Nazis did. They had tribunals.
Yeah.
And a tribunal was called next.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, next.
Couldn't get in a word.
You weren't going to get any justice from a tribunal.
No.
So, I'm sorry that's going on in the schools too.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to one thing I forgot.
Okay.
When I said you need to check out what the CEO is making. So they're paying me $5 million. I mean, I'm in charge of improving the swamp. Okay, we're a nationally registered Fix the Swamp program. I make $5 million. My workers are making $12 an hour. Now I can't spend the $5 million. I couldn't spend the $5 million in my lifetime. There's just no way. It's just not gonna happen. Because the next year they're going to pay me $5.2 million. So now I got $10.2 million. Well, if I couldn't spend the $5 million, how do I spend the $10.2 million?
Yeah.
I would rather them take an increase. If they're bound and determined to increase my wages, I can't stop them. But what I wish they would do was, instead of giving me an increase, that they pay my employees 15, 16, 17 hours an hour, because I can tell all of you, when you go in a Walmart store, you go in a Target store, You go in a Publix store. You go in an Aldi store. You go to the AAA office to get help on your trip. They can't do it without help. You can't run a business of any kind. It can be a one-man business. I had a friend that was a one-man business. He worked 7 days a week. And I said to him, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to just keel over in here one day. They ain't going to find your body for 15 or 20 minutes. You got all this merchandise in here that nobody knows what to do with because you're a single guy. Why don't you just close your store one day a week? So he closed on Sunday because that was his worst day. You can't do stuff by yourself. So when somebody wants you to be, see, I'm tying this back to the team. So if you're trying to be part of a team, but they're not interested, they just need to use you as kind of a a this or a that, because I don't want to berate. In other words, I don't want to say to people, if I were going to Walmart now to get a job, now this is exactly what I would do. I'd go after the greeter, or I'd go after the janitor, and more than likely I'd go after the janitor, because I probably could get a few more dollars than a greeter an hour, and I could buy one or two more stock
units.
Yeah. And there are people that work at Walmart that have retired after 30 or 35 years with $5 million worth of stock. And if you think that's a story, it's fine. I don't really care. That's the deal. Now, everybody doesn't do that, but there are some that do that. So you got to quit letting these haters, because they hate anything. If you gave them a banana, they'd hate that. I need a Hershey's Kisses. You gave them Hershey's Kisses. I don't need that. I really meant for you to get me some Reese's, not Pieces. What is that cup?
Reese's cup.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it is called Reese's Pieces too, but
I don't like the Pieces.
Well, I think what you're referring to is the little Reese's with the candies in them. I don't like those either.
Raisins in the candy.
No, the Reese's with the little candies. I don't like that either. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we talk about everything here.
Yeah, we do. We don't exactly, when we don't come with the script, because with the two of us, we're just a duo. We don't come with a script.
A duo.
So that's really what it is the school system seems to be in the brainwashing business, like he said, and I can back that up firsthand with firsthand experience, firsthand to come out the womb. My right hand, I'm right-handed, so I can back that up. Another thing that we were speaking of the Nazi tribunal, another thing that I thought we'd get into today is the Holocaust and the Nazi side of Germany, because it's not something that a lot of people like to talk about, with good reason. I don't like to talk about it. However,
it's man's inhumanity to man.
Yeah.
And that's going to stop. Never. That is never going to stop. If you are waiting for that, you ain't going to make it. Human beings are too stupid to live in a peaceful situation. Okay? They've got all this way of communicating. If I were the president of Guam, the leader of Guam, whatever he is, the mayor, all I got to do is email President Biden, Mr. Putin. Okay? That's all I got to do. Okay? Well, human beings can't do that in a peaceful manner. They have no concept of how to live together.
No.
And if you want to get mad at me and never watch my podcast, what do you call this podcast again? It's okay. It's perfectly fine with me. Okay, I'm not going to think any the less of you, or I'm not going to even think any more of you. I'm just giving you my thoughts. Okay, some of which probably make sense, and some of them don't make a hill of sense. Not one hill of sense, but that is the beauty of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, there's only one of me. That's the fun of me. So that's why, if y'all think that we have an interesting, what are we doing?
Podcast.
If y'all think we have an interesting podcast every week, we appreciate that, because I don't have any idea what the hell we're going to talk about. I sit down here and he goes, before he puts us on there, he goes, well, I want to talk about dogs. Okay, I don't know anything about dogs, but I'll stupor my way through it. So you have to look at what's been going on in our little past history.
Yeah.
There was a movie out in the 90s, just like Americathon, that wasn't understood. Okay, it's called The Manchurian Candidate. The premise of that was that they had taken one, two, three, I can't really remember. I just know one of them was Frank Sinatra. And they made him a brainwashed person. You know, I don't know. I don't even know how to talk about brainwashed. I don't know whether I've been brainwashed or not brainwashed.
Well, we're going to talk about that in the final episode of the show.
So, because I don't know what that is. But anyway, it is determined that there are brainwashed people who, on a command, like if you're this or that or the other, you're a hidden asset for an enemy of whatever you're doing. And the word free the tiger is the catchphrase. So you pick up the phone and this voice goes, free the tiger. Well, you become the enemy of the state automatically, even though you have made all these wonderful friends and you've smiled, but they've been being loosed in this country because we haven't had any leadership.
Not in a long time.
We have nobody that understands that. I'll backtrack here. I don't own a gun, but I would join National Rifle Association. I wouldn't necessarily attend any of their meetings. I'm not going to learn how to shoot a gun. I certainly am not going to learn how to shoot a machine gun. They'd probably back me up. If I probably took one of those guns and started shooting at this target halfway from the other wall, I'd end up back behind the other wall. I don't know anything about guns. I just know the following. No gun has ever killed anybody. It has to have a human with the trigger who pulls the trigger. It is not the gun. Do I think they should be able to buy AK? I don't know what those are.
AK-47s.
Okay, AK-47s. No, I don't think they should be allowed to buy AK-47s. They don't need an AK-47. Most people don't need an AK-47. But with the way things are, where a squatter comes in and just lives in your house and can sue the homeowner for now possession of the house since he was out of town for a month, he needs to be AK-47. And he needs to be thrown into the swamp. Because that is not right. Two lefts don't make a right, and two rights don't make a left. The way you say that is two rights don't make a wrong. So all I can tell you about what's going on is the Manchurian candidates are loose. We don't have any leadership. That's been proven. I'm not going to get into it as to particulars or who they are because I don't want to do that. That's not my interest. I'm just making a blanket statement that I believe will hold up in a court of law if I was in a court of law. But I'm not in a court of law, and I will tell you that the hole in the Constitution is the judicial system. The judicial system has lowered itself Let me make that very clear.
Yeah.
To politics. It's lowered itself that it's all about politics. People who are liberal take their case to the West Coast. I think it's the 9th district. People of the conservative persuasion take it to the one in New Orleans or I don't remember where these people are located, but they take them to where they know the conservatives control that. So it's all politics. There's nothing happening to help the tax-paying citizen of this country. People work hard for their money. Black people, white people, red people, yellow people. My UPS driver works 80 hours a week. He didn't want to go on strike, but they're not paying him enough money. You want to work 80 hours a week for, I don't know what it is, $16 an hour. I don't know what it is. I don't belong to UPS. But if the prices are going to rise like this, if I'm going to go in and buy, let me just give you for instance. I used to be able to buy a bottled water at Walmart for $1. Now, I'm using Walmart as an example because you couldn't pay this little for what I'm fixing to tell you. The water has gone up to $1.12 a bottle. That's a 12% increase. It don't sound like much of an increase. It's a 12% increase. Now, if I wanted to go to one of the name brand grocery stores that's only in the grocery store business, it'd probably be $1.22. So there, if the prices are raising on John Q. Public, who's working his tail off, his wife is working her tail off, and they're not getting a raise in pay, but they're getting a raise in every price they go see. That $6.99 burger is now $7.49. Well, that don't sound like a lot of money. It's just 10% here, 10% there, 12% there, and like Dirksen used to say, a million here, a million there, But
we really need to get back on track into the
well,
Nazi.
You know how hard I am to keep on track.
I know. The Nazi Holocaust.
Well, what happened was there was a big void in leadership. In what a guy like Adolf Hitler thought that Germany should have more of a say in what was going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler figured out a way to become the leader of a minority group who was very civic, that's not the right word, very, well, they did it to the civilian population. Let me put it like this. They decided that being ruffians and selling their ruffian agenda, that they could take over the country. And that proved to be right. I have been to Germany. Most Jewish people will not go to Germany, but they'll buy a $40,000 BMW. They'll buy a $60,000 Mercedes. See? So everybody lives with some kind of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
See? So they became the hypocrites of what they thought, and it worked. They took over a country that is one of the strongest economic driven places. Those people work very hard. I do not blame this generation, nor did I blame the generation of Germans when I was in Germany last in the 70s. I probably wouldn't know where I was. But I had a very interesting experience in Germany that let me know I was doing the right thing and on the right track by taking part in a show like this down the road. I was standing in front of a jewelry store with my wife and the friends that we were with. There were four of us. And all of a sudden we hear this crackle. And this bolt of lightning hit literally 5 feet from where we were standing and knocked all of us down, totally down. And I think I got the message that I needed to, instead of stay quiet, I needed to be a little more open. Well, that hadn't necessarily gotten me anywhere because ruts. So the Nazis got into the rut and were able to sell their rut and were able to do the following. It got to the point where A couldn't speak for B. You shouldn't be messing with B. And B got to where they couldn't talk
to A.
They were gone. They were killed. C got to where they couldn't defend A and B because they were gone. So let's say you get down to Z. Who is left to talk for Z?
No one.
No one. Well, that's where they pushed it. And does it seem a little bit like we're heading in, unfortunately, that direction at this point? They're trying to attack freedom of speech. They're trying to tell me that I have got to walk up to my Christian friend who I've known for 70, whenever I woke up enough when I was 5 years old to say hello to him. 73, I can't wish him a Merry Christmas. But I find that offensive. I find that offensive to my Christian friends because I think it's a hoo-hoo. And I'm going to keep wishing my Christian friends Merry Christmas until they come take me away to the hoo-hoo house. Okay? And they may be thinking about doing that already because we've talked some very interesting things on this podcast.
Yeah.
And have no idea what we're going to talk about. Just like you said, I don't know what you want me to talk about. Well, and you're going to pick a subject like tomatoes, and I'm not going to be able to say a damn thing. I don't know anything about tomatoes.
I hate tomatoes. I'd never pick tomatoes.
You hate tomatoes.
I cannot stand tomatoes.
So now we're off on the tomatoes.
They're disgusting. Okay, anyway. We're not doing this.
I think it's wonderful that we're off on a tomatoes conversation.
No, tomatoes
do you like them big and round and red, or
I don't
do you like
them
small?
Any tomatoes, any size. I hate tomatoes.
Okay.
With a deep hatred.
I've never liked tomatoes, but there is a particular restaurant chain. I don't want to give them any free advertising. You know what I mean? Then I'll have to mention other people. Uh-huh. But there is one chain of where you can eat good food that serves these little chipped pieces of tomato in a salad, and I can't get enough of those. They're about that big.
I know what you're talking about.
Don't tell them where where you're talking about.
I know,
because I don't want to get started on them. I have to next week get a phone call from somebody, the Attorney General's office, and I've got to name everybody that I didn't name last week.
Oh, Lord.
Thank you very much, because I don't need no more garbage than I already got.
Yeah, we got a lot to take out.
Oh, we have to do the recycling, too.
Oh, yeah.
We got to do the garbage and the recycling, and we got to clean out the dishwasher.
No, we don't have to do that. Not this week.
You don't give me the big one. We have to.
No, Bubby said it's fun.
Okay. All right, that's good.
And I don't know. Do we have to do the recycling?
I've already got it in the car.
Okay. Okay, so you really did wake up earlier than me today.
Well, when you get chewed out like I got chewed out, you
Last
put it
night.
in the car and you make sure that they don't see it within 3 days. It's like my heart doctor always tells me when I get ready to get up. I guarantee you'll be okay for 3 days.
No, you'll have something else to do tomorrow.
Yeah, I have to go to my job tomorrow.
Well, not just that, but you'll have something, extra to do tomorrow.
I can't imagine.
Well, it'll come. Anyway, we're going to be going on our walk. So, we're going to be going on a walk. How's about we walk down to Checkers, boy? What you say about that?
I'm cogitating. Okay, listen. I don't know any other thing than to tell you that you've got to check your CEOs, what their salaries are, before you start giving to charities. I'm not mentioning any charities because I don't know outside of the ones that I give to what the salaries are, but I know that the ones that I give to have understood the lesson of what they're supposed to be doing, which is helping the people that they've created the nonprofit for, not to put it in billions and billions of dollars in the overseeing part of it. I would be happy to run a charity for $1. They would have to put an amount on there. You can't put zero. It's not that I don't need the money. I'm 78 years old. I need money, just like everybody else needs money. I'm having to live off my Social Security, which is doable. Okay, which is doable. I'm not looking for a job, so I'm satisfied with what I'm getting. Okay, but when you boil things like a nonprofit down to how much money can I take up front, I think that you should not be able to get. You should not get funds from people, and I'm just very, I'm saddened that there are people that are that greedy. Saddened. But we got a lot of them. So we'll talk about maybe the haters next week.
Next week, you won't be on the podcast.
Now listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want to call 4 of your friends, each of you today, because who is going to be on with him next week is totally a stunner.
Oh yeah, she
totally a stunner. Don't
this person is just
tell
absolutely
what
amazing.
gender it is. It could be a man that's going to be stunning. You got to leave them with bated breath.
Okay.
You just took the bait away from the breath. Or the breath away from the bait. I don't know how you say that.
Well, you never know.
Okay. Been fun.
Been fun.
And I'm glad that y'all have listened or dropped off, whichever one you've chosen to do.
Whichever one.
We're just doing this to have fun.
Yeah.
So then in the future members of his family and his mother's other children will have something to look back on and see that this young man who's smart as a tack, wanted to do something to perpetuate his grandfather's knowledge, which I don't have any of that, but I just try to answer his questions. Sometimes he gets more confused by the answer to my question.
Oh, God.
And that's the way it should be. Some of the answers that he gives me about this technology, I don't even look confused. I look stricken. So we'll say bye-bye.
Well, I say, how's about that walk, huh?
How's about that walk?
Well, with that being said, good night, Gracie.